Tonight on Joynews Prime, the opposition National Democratic Congress announces the formation of Citizens Arrest Task Force. It says will collaborate with the police to ensure strict policing of the polls this December.
Set up a Citizen Arrest Task Force everywhere to hand over any suspicious characters together with the regular police.
It is also cautioning the EC to hasten slowly with its plan to declare the results of the election within 24 hours after the close of polls.
What is the basis for this claim? What mechanisms and structures and systems and processes have you put in place to ensure that this claim that you are making, you'll be able to meet it without having any problems? How does it work in practical terms? Because it's a process.
We'll touch base with the two leading candidates for the December election as they engage in last rounds of campaigns with less than 2 weeks to the polls. The National COVID-19 Trust Fund says Ghanaians must begin to give again so it can continue to support government's coronavirus fight as their cases begin to spike.
Rise in infections once again, with cases of infections standing at 1,019 as at yesterday, and encourage us to continue to contribute our quota in every way, howsoever small.
In business.
As international airlines gear up for a COVID-19 vaccine, aviation expert Sean Mendes has been assessing Ghana's aviation sector and how prepared it is ahead of this vaccine.
This is implemented? Is it something that a specific vaccine is going to be required for certain countries and different vaccines for other countries? There needs to be some level of standardization of.
We have all that and more coming up in the next 1 hour of the bulletin. Yes, we're doing 1 hour today because we're crossing over for a debate at 8 o'clock. My name is Israel. I enjoy News Prime. It's coming to you live from our Fan of our studios at Kokomebe here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. The opposition National Democratic Congress is vowing to stop at nothing to ensure its votes in the December elections are protected, announcing a number of measures to police the process. Amongst them is the formation of what it calls the Citizens Arrest Task Force to collaborate with the police and other security agencies to guard the polls. Director of Elections for the NDC, obviously Free Ankra, announced this and a raft of other measures at a news conference at the party's headquarters.
We have set up a Citizen Arrest Task Force everywhere to hand over any suspicious characters together with the regular police that will be deployed any part of to this country. Collaborate with the proper police. The proper police, they are there to help you. They want the right thing. They want peace. All we want is 7th, 8th December, we are still in Ghana. Peace. Period. That's all we want. So collaborate with the correct people. Anybody who comes there, attempts to snatch a ballot box, attempts to cause confusion, that person is a thief. That person is a threat to our democracy. He must be dealt with accordingly. Let the regular police grab that person. In addition, we call on the Christian community in the Volta region to pray against any such disturbances. Adherents of African traditional religion should equally call on their deities to protect them from any harm that may be caused before, during, and after the elections. The history of the bravery and fearlessness of the people of the Volta region should not be lost on the people of the region. We recall how the people of the region, through wit and wisdom, without firing one gun, escaped the tyrant leadership of King Agokoli of Nochie in Benin.
The party also questioned the competence of the Electoral Commission to transmit and announce the results of the presidential elections 24 hours after the polls closed, as announced by the Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Sirebo Kweku, in a recent interview.
The EC earlier on announced that the result of the elections will be announced by the 10th of December. How many of you remember? In another dramatic departure from this announcement, Dr. Sribo Kwaku subsequently announced on the 18th of November that the results will be declared by close of day on 8th December, barely 24 hours after close of polls. Ordinarily, somebody, well, if they finish the elections earlier and you declare, what's wrong with that? But you see, therein lies the problem. What is the basis for this claim? What mechanisms and structures and systems and processes have you put in place to ensure that this claim that you are making, you'll be able to meet it without having any problems? How does it work in practical terms? Because it's a process. Elections are declared at the polling station. Those results move from the polling station to the Constituency Coalition Center. From the Constituency Coalition Center, you have now created another layer, you claim, at the regional level. Then from the regional level, it will now go to the national level. And especially for the presidential ballot, the Electoral Commissioner herself is supposed to be the chief returning officer. Now, at every constituency, before a presiding officer will declare that Akwesi or Ajwa has won in a constituency, that returning officer must be able to see all the results, certified results, each one of them, from every polling station, and then say, this person has won. By this process, is she telling her that she's going to see every single result from all the 275 constituencies before she declares, she makes a declaration? Can't we see the danger here? Is she going to rely on only 16 regions? So you see, they are creating another unrealistic expectation. And then when the day comes and by that time they are not able to, what would they do? Are they going to force numbers? Are they going to cook numbers? Are they just going to announce any other thing at all just because they want to meet an unrealistic 24-hour timeline? Who forced them?
Well, the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama ended his tour of the Upper East region with a series of late-night campaign stops, some of which spilled over into the following day. John Mahama and his campaign team at one point left the hotel at 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday and returned at 5:30 a.m. on Wednesday. Maxwell was with the team and reports how some supporters of the party slept at public parks as they waited for the NDC flag bearer's visit.
The NDC presidential candidate has been moving to various constituencies. As we speak right now, he's in Paga and he's about to greet the chief of Paga. But what you can see behind me is actually the main Navrongo to Paga road. Now, this road, there's a traffic situation on this stretch because many NDC supporters have gathered here, all of them waiting to hear John Mahama speak at the Paga Chief's Palace. A lot of them are waiting, some of them on motorbikes, as you can see, jubilating here. So they have caused some kind of a traffic situation here on the main Navrongo Paga Road. There's jubilation for them. This is not a rally ground. The NDC presidential candidate is just coming here to visit the chief of Paga, and all the supporters have converged here. I have with me the Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Yariga. He's here with me. Let's find out from him what the campaign has been like.
He is being received everywhere enthusiastically. You can see the energy. The young people are yearning for the second coming of John Dramani Mahama as president. I mean, they are listening. He's taking his time to deliver the message, to explain what he will do in his second term, and the focus on continuing on the infrastructure development and providing job opportunities for the young people and skills training and etc. and developing the agricultural potential of the North is something that is going down well with the people of the North. And everywhere we go, the people are yearning for NDC to come back.
Great. So
you can see the energy all around.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that victory is ours.
We wait to see.
It shall be.
Okay, thank you. So you just heard from Boku Central MP Mahama Ayariga. Now, the NDC presidential candidate has been talking about the Japa deal. He's saying that for persons who illegitimately benefited from the deal, if the NDC wins, they should return the monies.
I think he has hit the nail right on the head. And what did he say? He said that all those who might have benefited from the deal, putting the interest of the nation first. And when you look at the report of the special prosecutor, the reason for which he resigned, and that's also an indictment on this administration, to have the special prosecutor resign at this time is an indictment. The report has indicted the president, the report has indicted the finance minister, the report has indicted the deputy minister of finance.
The Danko Institute is accusing the opposition NDC of desperately trying to see glory from the successful implementation of the Free Senior High School Initiative. Speaking at a news conference to review the manifesto promises of the party, the executive director of the pro-MPP think tank, Richard Ahiagba, described the NDC's promise to extend free SHS to cover private senior high schools as an attempt to deceive Ghanaians into voting for them in the upcoming election.
The promise by the former president and the NDC to extend coverage of the free SHS program to private educational institutions deserves scrutiny. It needs mentioning that based on the 2020 expenditure for the free SHS program and an extra adjustment of 30% for private educational institutions, the NDC's plan would cost an estimated $3.2 billion for the 2020 and 2021 academic year. Interestingly, former President Mahama in 2019, while addressing an audience in University of Cape Coast on the theme, the state of education in Ghana, expressed concern over the investment of 2 billion Ghana cedis in the free SHS program to the detriment of other equally important sectors of the economy.
Richard Ahiagba also noted the NDC's promise of free primary universal health care is not feasible, but mere campaign rhetoric, which, if implemented, will collapse the National Health Insurance Scheme.
In its 2020 manifesto, the NDC has promised free primary health care for all Ghanaians if elected into office. It has been widely explained that this initiative would complement the existing National Health Insurance Scheme to promote universal access to healthcare delivery. Based on available data on the distribution of the population, total enrollment in the NHIS, and premium payment for members, the cost of this initiative is estimated at $630 million annually. It is worth noting that a free primary healthcare policy is premised on the non-payment of premium. Intuitively, 75% of Ghanaians whose point of call for healthcare delivery are district hospitals, CHIPS compounds, and polyclinics would cease paying premiums. I hope you get that point. By the implementation, assuming they get a chance to, a raft of Ghanaians whose first point of call for healthcare delivery would cease paying premiums. Barring mitigating measures, this will lead to a collapse of the NHIS and would likely set the country back in the progress we made thus far in promoting free universal health care.
Meanwhile, President Kufuor says it is shocking that former President John Mahama is laying claim to the implementation of the free senior high school program. He cited claims by the former president at a rally in the Upper West region that he started the program with the construction of E-blocks. President Kufuor, in an interaction with traders at Malam, Odoko, and Agbogloshi, all in the Greater Accra region, described Mr. Mahama's claim as outright lies and deceit meant to revive his uninspiring campaign.
Nedrala miti bibi emi ngwangwapa. Mikasa me di free SHS bebado. Okasa me dada Ghana for. Samukai. Se me di pevo tinti na mekasa. Nakra ebe di be 20 years as a Ghana for the aye. And say also, 2 billion CDs are not offered to school fees. Or the baby be papa. And then, Ɔsɛ ɔno na ɔde free SHS no baeɛ. Hey! Ɛnyɛ fɛ. So ɔmampanyin dada bɛka sɛ ɔde atorɔ ne ndaadaa ɛna ɛba abɛforo adwa kɛseɛ no. Yɛbɛma no kwan. Yɛbɛma no kwan.
Well, joining us on phone now is presidential correspondent Elting Brobe. Elting, what have you been up to following the president around?
So it's been a very long day, but it appears to me that we still have one more to go before we can call it a day. We are currently at the Alita Hotel. It is the last on the agenda for today. And today, this particular program is a meeting between the president and identifiable groups and heads of religious organizations. My information is that it is just about they want to find out government commitment to ensuring we have a peaceful election in December, and then what government has done to resource the groups responsible for ensuring a credible, transparent, credible elections, the Electoral Commission, the security agencies, and the role the political parties are playing to ensure that they abide by the rules and regulations governing the conduct of the election. So just meeting is just about happening. I think in the next few minutes, the media will be ushered into the meeting, and then the opening ceremony will be done, and we can take it from here. I'm getting conflicting information as to whether the details of whatever will be discussed will be open to the media or will be held in camera. Those are the details we are trying to iron out. But that meeting is just about starting. But before getting here, we started from the Ablekuma West constituency at Dansoman, the famous Dansoman runabout, where President Kufuor unveiled a statue of the former member of parliament for Ablekuma South, which later became Ablekuma West constituency, the late Teresa Amele Tego, who died 10 years ago. This woman, for those who may not know, her claim to fame can be traced to the December 1999 when she led protests against perceived government inaction over the murder of countless women in the Greater Accra region. And it was after that eventually the MPP under John Kufuor won the 2000 election and came to power. She was first made deputy minister and then later became minister for Western House. She died 10 years ago, and today the constituency decided to honor her. Government also decided to honor her. So a statue located right in the middle of the last one roundabout was unveiled in her honor. Afterwards, there were speeches, meaning the dancehall artists performed the song, which endorses the president's second candidate. And then after that, there was a drive through the Malam market, Odoko, and Bubroshi, before ending up at the Kufuor intersection where the first phase was commissioned. It was actually at Malam, Odoko, and Abubrush that President Kufuor decided to take on his main opponent for the election, former President John Mahama, in relation to comments made by the ex-president that he started implementation of the FreeSHS high school policy with the construction of the E-blocks and other things that were done to ensure progressive free secondary education. President Kufuor said he received the E-blocks, and he said that Mr. John Mahama is running an uninspiring campaign, so he needed something like that to rejuvenate this campaign, which according to not go anywhere. But for him, the evidence is clear that he started it, he implemented it, and it's under his work that Ghanaians are enjoying the FreeSHS high school program. So speaker after speaker were quite vocal in their call on the electorate to look at the promises what government has done so far, assess them, and then based on their own conclusion, vote the MPP for the
All right. Thank you very much, presidential correspondent Elting Brobe, who is with the president on his campaign rounds. You're watching Joynews Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. The National COVID-19 Trust Fund says Ghanaians must begin to give again so it can continue to support government's coronavirus fight as the cases begin to spike.
Infections once again, with cases of infections standing at 1,019 as at yesterday.
Stay tuned in. We'll be back with you in a bit. The National COVID-19 Trust Fund is worried it may not be in a position to extend support to Ghanaians with the rising cases of coronavirus in the last few weeks, unless donations begin to pour in again. The fund, which attracted millions of cedis in cash and kind at the height of the pandemic, says virtually no donations have come in the last few months. Addressing a symposium where the fund detailed how the donations have been distributed, former Chief Justice Kufuor says the benevolent spirit would have to be revived now that there's been a spike in cases.
The fund has so far received contributions from over 600 donors, made up of individuals, both from the public and private sectors, social groups, religious bodies, NGOs, public and private associations, as well as public and private corporate bodies. Clearly, our financial resources will continue to dwindle as we continue to execute various projects, programs, and activities. Unfortunately, there seems to have developed over the past few months a rather misconceived belief within large sections of our society that the COVID-19 pandemic is going away or is even no more with us. This misapprehension has resulted in a drastic reduction in the frequency of donations and contributions to the fund. Thus, from the end of August this year to the middle of this month, we have received only one cash donation from one individual. Until the end of October, there is now a startlingly steady rise in infections once again, with cases of infections standing at 1,019 as at yesterday. I'm therefore using this opportunity to repeat our appeal to all of you, both present here and watching on the live streaming, whether in your individual capacities or as groups, corporate bodies, public or private associations, etc., to contribute to the trust fund to enable us continue to discharge our mandate of complementing the government's effort in the combat against this pandemic.
The Office of the Administrator General says it is mounting pressure on various government agencies in a bid to retrieve handover notes to facilitate a smooth transition after this year's elections. It follows concerns by a former Chief of Staff under President Rawlings, Nana Tudasi, that the office, which is to supervise transitions, appears to have become docile after the retirement of its substantive head in 2019. The Presidential Transitions Act 2012, Act 845, among other things, requires that handover notes from the Presidency, ministries, departments and agencies are presented to the Administrator General's office not later than 30 days before Election Day. But with just 12 days to the 2020 polls, Joynews checks reveal several MMDAs have still not submitted their notes. We'll hear from the Director of Administration at the office shortly. But first, here's Information Minister Kufuor Nkrumah earlier claiming that this requirement had been satisfied.
As a matter of fact, over 3 months ago, the Chief of Staff instructed all ministers to prepare and sign off their handing over notes and hand it over to the civil service structure for onward transmission. I'm aware that ministers have done so. I have done so, as have many of my other colleagues done so, signed it off, handed it over to our chief directors for onward transmission. I think it behoves on us to find out from the Office of the Administrator General whether they are suggesting that they have not received it. And I have done mine. I know my colleagues have done theirs. And the civil service structure is seized with same for transmission.
So we checked with the Office of the Administrator General. It turns out that not all the ministries, departments and agencies have actually met that requirement. You're watching Joynews Prime. We're taking a break here now. We'll bring you business news next. Do stay tuned in.
Hello there, it's time for business. I'm Charles Aite. Aviation expert and former chief operations officer for Africa World Airlines, Shawn Mendes, says COVID-19 vaccinations for international travelers should not be a must. International air travel could bounce back next year, but with a new rule that travelers to certain countries must be vaccinated against the coronavirus before they can embark. Speaking earlier on the marketplace, Shawn Mendes says that countries like Ghana are in the best position to manage air safety protocols should there be a vaccine. Take a look.
I don't think it's necessarily too aggressive an approach. I think a lot will depend upon the way it is implemented. I think we already have certain vaccination requirements for travel to certain countries. For example, in Ghana itself, you need to have a yellow fever vaccine to be able to visit Ghana. So COVID-19 vaccine in due course will probably become normal. However, it is how this is implemented. Is it something that a specific vaccine is going to be required for certain countries and different vaccines for other countries? There needs to be some level of standardization of this through World Health Organization, most likely, in terms of what the standards are, what the vaccination schedules should be, and again, have a phase-in period during which some sort of balance between vaccination requirements and testing requirements can be used to ensure that people are able to travel and the economy is able to get back safely onto its feet without too much hassle.
Well, on your screens are 5 ways by which COVID-19, having a vaccine for COVID-19, can affect the aviation space. There we do have that. In the very first instance, we're going to be seeing vaccines, news show up of early optimism from air travelers, international route networks having to restart, and the proof of vaccine will also mean a new travel document, of which we're waiting for IATA to have a say on this one. Away from that, the Israel ambassador to Ghana, Shani Cooper, has picked out the duplication of duties at the various ministries and public departments as a drain on public funds. She spoke to me earlier on.
I think that there are some challenges, as there are some challenges all around the world. Maybe one of the things is internal coordination and infrastructure development.
When you say internal coordination, what do you mean?
Between all the stakeholders. I'll give you an example. We have been working in the last year on capacity building course for governmental institutes working in the innovation ecosystem in Ghana, which means that we took all the institutions and the offices, the ministries who are working on innovation, and sat with them together. It was a collaboration with the GIZ, the German agency, and so how we can promote a coordinated policy of innovation to Ghana. We found out, the participants themselves found out to see that there are some, the same work is done in this ministry and in the other ministry, and they are both asking for budget for the same thing. So when they sat together, they understood that there are some fields that they have to come together and solve them together.
Shani Cooper there, ending this edition of Business. Sports is up next.
Thank you for staying with us on Joynews Prime. Gary Al Smith with the sport. In our first story, not good news, but football legend Diego Maradona, because Maradona was that big. From former players to prime ministers to mayors of cities. Now, this is River Plate, and as you know, he played for their great rivals, Boca Juniors. But even they said 1960 until eternity, forever Diego. Leo Messi, perhaps the one player who has been likened to Diego than anybody else, also paid tribute to him on his Instagram, saying that his great friend has gone. And then, of course, we have Cristiano Ronaldo, who calls him a unique man and a great friend and says that it's a big loss to the world of football. Then Pelé. Pelé says that he would one day hope that he and Maradona will play football one day in the sky. Imagine Pele and Maradona in heaven playing football. That would be some team. Anyway, in the Ghana Premier League, new news. Legon Cities, after sacking their coach, Goran Baktarovic, have announced the appointment of Bashir Hayford as the new head coach of the club on a one-year deal. The news comes less than 24 hours after the Royals confirmed the sacking of the Bosnian who was in charge of the club for just 11 months. Hayford will be tasked with restoring balance in the Legon City side, yet to pick a win this season after 2 games. And that's it for today's sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. Thank you for your time.
Time for showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you. I missed you yesterday. Where were you?
On national duty.
Oh, national.
Yeah.
Like you were the president or something? Oh, you don't want to talk about it. That's okay. Do you?
Okay.
Do you love choral music?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
But, you know, I noticed that not too many people, especially the young ones, we the young ones, not to say that you're old or, you know, forgive me, you're not old.
Okay, you carry on.
We the young ones, we don't really pay attention to choral music. So remember the composer for he's called James. He's called James. I spoke to him earlier, and he's been talking about choral music in Ghana and how we can take it a bit further, how we can make it lovable by everybody.
By the young ones, okay.
Yeah.
Right, that's clearly not choral music.
Choral music.
Okay, so why did you bring us?
COVID-19 is making everything. But, I mean, we'll bring you that particular file later on. But we have elections coming up, just, I think, 2 weeks to elections, a few days to elections. And we have our movie producers and actors, you know, trying to find creative ways to promote peace.
Okay.
The latest one is by Gloria Safo. She created something very beautiful just to create or just to promote peace ahead of the elections. Yeah, but easy, we have some of the musicians also, you know, telling us a bit about why we shouldn't entertain violence in this upcoming elections.
All right.
Yeah.
Election year, and I just want to tell everybody to just go and vote. It's all about your Kokomoti power. Make sure you choose your leader, the first gentleman that you know, so he can rule this country. I love you. No violence. Just stay calm.
All right, Charlie. This is one message from Dope Nation. We want to say, everybody out there, when you go and vote, vote in peace, Charlie. When you finish, come house, Moku find the winner, make the person work hard, and then make Ghana a very big nation and make Ghana proud. You understand? It's Dope Nation in the building. Ish.
Yanyu manda chini ayen na che ho first ansan ya baby bia ntini ye mayen yenye ye for do ne nkabom na nye fani yenko yanim because at the end of the day Ghana any baby akọ.
So I want us to like vote peacefully, let's be peaceful about it, and I'm also asking the government to make sure that it's credible and to make sure that the process is easy and smooth. So let us not fight, let us just vote in peace because we are one and we are united. Thank you and God bless you.
Right. So in the spirit of being patriotic citizens, we have a few of our celebrities led by Ikea Donko to recite the national pledge.
I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal, my brother. I pledge myself to the service of Ghana. With all my soul and all my heart, I promise to owe you highest our heritage more forward. Through the blood and joy of our fathers, our blood. I don't know do what I
promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. I pledge myself. That's all I can say for now.
I promise on my honor to be
Oh, I can. The national anthem.
Pledge.
Oh, the anthem.
Yeah, no, the anthem is, overused. Let's do the pledge.
It's not overused.
Why? It's the pledge everybody's doing.
Hey, don't come and do that thing.
Let's try.
I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana and my motherland. I pledge myself to be faithful and loyal, right? Yeah, that's all. That's why I can remember it too, and it's right. Thank you. God bless our homeland, Ghana. You don't know. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Stoneboy.
Okay, the pledge.
God bless our homeland, Ghana. That's all I can remember it too, and he's right.
I mean you.
Me, I'm not supposed to recite the pledge.
Why not?
They are supposed to be reciting the pledge.
I'm asking you to.
Why are you asking me on the spot to recite
Because you
the
asked
pledge?
them to.
I want to sing the national anthem.
Okay. That's it. That's it for Showbiz. Thank you very much for bringing us Showbiz.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That'll be all for the bulletin this evening. We're handing over, or we're crossing over to the UDS campus in Tamale for the education debate.